everyone, and welcome to today's edition. My name is Blessing Dola, broadcasting live from the OLDN TV studios. And with me today is an amazing person. She's a young entrepreneur by name Kiarie, nationality Kenya. And she will be introducing yourself. First of all, if you're watching us on Facebook, please make sure you follow us. If you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe. And why not hit the notification button so whenever we upload a video, you're the very first to see our videos. And please, you would use the link below to follow Miss Karen and to follow her forum. Without any further ado, Karen, thank you for honoring our invitation. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me, Blessing. It's so lovely to be here.
Amazing, amazing. So, having you on board, I have a drafted questions I want to ask you. But very first, we don't know you and we don't know where you're coming from. We don't know your educational background. We don't know your career. We know nothing. So, please do us the honors by introducing yourself, please. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So, hi everyone. My name is Kiarie. As Blessing had said earlier, I am a Kenyan by nationality. I was born and raised in the United Arab Emirates, Dubai. So in terms of my career, I'm doing a number of things right now. So as it is on the flyer, I am the vice president of Like a Girl Dubai, which is a student-run organization that is working to change and redefine the meaning of feminism across the globe. So
Oh,
that's one thing that I'm doing. And another thing that I'm doing is that I am the chief executive officer of the Exotic Professional Services, which is a business that kind of deals with business services, things like writing, legal documents, consultancy, and various types of things. I am pursuing right now a degree in law with criminology. And yeah, in a nutshell, that's who I am.
oh, that is a powerful package you got right there, especially the ending. Law, that's amazing. So, from your explanation and based on the findings I had, I understand you are one of the founders of Like a Girl Dubai. Kindly shed more lights about this. What pushed to these foundings, and in consideration with that, or in line with that, please tell us what led to the existence of toxic, what you mentioned, please.
Sure. Thank you. So I'm not actually one of the founders of Like a Girl Dubai, but I am the vice president. Our founder and president goes by the name Desiree, and she's an awesome, amazing young girl. So yeah, so basically how this came about was she had mentioned that over the summer there were a lot of issues in society that were bothering her, a lot of things that women were facing that she saw, and a lot of wrong misconceptions on what feminism is. And so when she kind of publicized the idea and asked for a vice president, I actually didn't think that I would get the position. I wanted to apply for a content writer in the company and rather the organization, same thing. But as things went, I ended up getting the position of the vice president. And I think the one thing that pushed me was the fact that I had a like goal to redefine the meaning of feminism. Being an African, I come from a background where everyone thinks of feminism as something that is taboo. You know, the fact that you're a woman and advocating for women rights, it's like you're, I don't know, rebelling against the patriarchal society. And that's something that's, I mean, unacceptable. And being someone that doesn't believe in that, I want to be one of the first women, not just in my family, but one of the first women in Africa in general to redefine the meaning of feminism and kind of tell the world that, hey, feminism is not women hating men, but it's women fighting for equal rights and an equal place in society. And with The Exotic, I started The Exotic around a year ago. And it actually just started because, to be quite honest, it was summer break and I really had nothing to do. And I really felt like I was, just wasting away. And I had a couple of friends who were doing awesome things. And I looked at them and I realized that, hey, I can write, I can handle social media accounts, I can do a number of things. I'm well versed with legal documents. Why don't I turn this into a business? And so since then, I've been writing for people, doing things like their CVs, their resumes, cover letters, and I've been handling social media accounts. I've been graphic designing for people since then. And yeah, so it started as something just to while away time, but right now it has grown into something that's so amazing.
Ooh, tell me about the money. That is great. So now that is it. But you mentioned some like your background, and now taking into consideration your background, there are certain things, there are certain lines to align with what you just said. Now, in your opinion, how can women and young ladies build their capacity and not be intimidated by the factors surrounding them?
That's a really good question. I like that question.
Mm,
So, the very first thing I would tell any girl that wants to change the world is you can't change the world if you don't know about the thing that you want to change. For example, you want to change the meaning of feminism. You can't change what feminism is if you don't know what it looks like in society. So the first thing that you need to do is be informed. Read lots of articles, just get involved with society. You need to be up to date and well versed with the different happenings in our world. I mean, there are so many things happening around the globe. And to be quite honest, it is hard to keep up. But I mean, knowing snippets here and there and forming your own opinions and your own ideas on things that are going on in society, I think is super, super important when you want to change the world. And as a young girl, I think having or getting information, it doesn't really cost you anything. The truth is that most of us spend, the average teenager spends 8 hours, 30 minutes on their mobile phone. What are you doing in those 8 hours? You can scroll through Instagram, but what are you scrolling through? What are you gaining? What are you looking at? What are you consuming? Because in the end of the day, you are what you consume.
mhm.
So, yeah, that's the advice that I'd be able to give.
Okay, okay. Now, as a result of this thing, or what you have said, Instagram and stuff. Thank God you're from Africa, so you know what the suburbs look like back there. Now, ladies in Africa and other places where they cannot access internet, however, are intimidated by their surroundings. Countries we cannot call, but I've heard and seen several cases. Last week, I was privileged to interview someone from a country where the ladies don't have the privilege to talk. You cannot talk in a place like that. Not that the kids are they're spending time on social media. However, their environment is very very strict. Now they cannot talk. The ladies don't go to school. The guys go to school. In an area or in a dispensation such as this, how then do you advise young ladies to navigate themselves into being a better person?
Well, that's tough and it's heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking to see that there's still places in the world where communication hasn't reached.
Mhm.
And even then, I think that no human is limited, as one of the athletes in Kenya said. There is indeed no one that is limited. And I feel like there are still ways that these women can educate themselves, even if it's a little informal. So, gathering newspapers here and there, which I'm sure should be available,
Just a
books,
moment. Do you have newspapers in your village?
yeah.
Okay, you come from a good village. Okay, I'm listening.
But if in case there are, to be quite honest, that's this question is it's hard to tackle because I feel like it's the responsibility of the people who are in the first world and developed countries to
Mhm,
take this change to the people in the third world countries, because these women need to be empowered. Because right now where they are, they're afraid,
mhm.
they're locked down, tied behind social norms, and they're actually at the mercy of the men in their lives. So it's our responsibility as outsiders, in a way, to kind of take their freedom to them, take information to them, and that way they would be able to kind of rise up and to stand for themselves. And until then, because for example, those people, those girls that we're speaking about, unfortunately, they wouldn't even be able to access something like this. They wouldn't be able to access this interview, for instance. So it's our we should make it part of our cause to change the dynamics and to provide for these women, for them to be able to learn and to have a stance for themselves.
Great. How do we do that?
Awesome question. So, the one way that we could do that is there are dozens of organizations right now that are going to these places. There are organizations going to places like South Sudan, places like Kenya, even Cameroon, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe, name it. There are so many organizations that are taking, like, not just relief material, but they're taking even information and knowledge to these people. And how we can do that is by partnering with them. If you
Mhm.
don't have the finances, you can broadcast, you can promote, because there are people who would be willing to provide financial aid. And if you're one of the people who's in the position to kind of fund these things, then go ahead. If you're not in the position to fund, become an advocate, become one of, like, an influencer for these things. And I think that's one of the ways that we can, I don't know, make this change occur quickly. This is one way we can catalyze this reaction.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then, like a girl community or like a girl forum, it's a forum or a community. This platform is, are you putting in place measures to reach out to ladies who don't have the privilege to get these aids? Like, for example, we have Afghanistan, we have Africa as a whole, we have other nations. So, are there measures you're putting in place to reach out to ladies or girls in these kind of places?
Yes. So because we're pretty new and pretty young, we don't have like a foundation of our own. But what we do is when we find foundations that are doing this, we usually share their links, broadcast their cause, their message. We have their links put in our bio, in our posts, for people to kind of have access to read more, to, fund if they can, and things like that. And for instance, this evening, actually, we are holding a live video with a foundation from Cameroon that's called Matuma's Foundation. And they basically deal with women and their reproductive cycle, and just all of those things. So for example, interviewing such people gives them publicity, which helps them to gain the resources that they need to cause the changes that they want to cause. So yeah, that's what we do basically.
Okay, that's very, very interesting. I'll put a pin on that so we can come back to that later. As an upcoming OD practitioner, there are three words: leadership, coaching, influencer. In this era or in this dispensation, we often at times mix these words up. Now, in your understanding, I asked you before and you did not agree to this. So I want to ask you this: if you don't agree to this, can you kindly distinguish between what these words are? In your opinion, what is leadership, what is coaching, and what is influence? Like, who is a leader, who's a coach, and who's an influencer?
Okay. To be quite honest, from the day that you asked me, that's a question that I sat down with and I asked myself so many times: who is a leader, who is a coach, and who is an influencer? The best explanation that I could give is, I'll give you the analogy of, I don't know how accurate this will be, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'll give you the analogy of a mountain. Okay, so there's a mountain, there's a coach, an influencer, and a leader, and there's someone who's trying to climb the mountain. Okay, so this person has three tries, and these three tries happen with each of these individuals. So with a leader would be someone who takes the person who's climbing the mountain, so the mountain climber, and kind of guides them up the mountain. But the thing is that they're going with the person climbing up the mountain, so they get to the top together. But it is the leader who is in charge and responsible for the mountain climber, who is his follower, to get there. With a coach, I would say, is someone who's already at the top of the mountain. So they've climbed the mountain already. They know what the mountain is like, and they guide the person through their own path to go up the mountain. So they allow the mountain climber to figure out and to carve their own path through their guidance. So through questioning, analyzing, interacting, communicating, and things like that. And an influencer maybe somebody who's just at the bottom of the mountain, but they're inspiring and pushing you to move up the mountain. They're not necessarily doing it with you, but they're providing you with the drive and the motivation that you need to get up there. And so I think that's the basic analogy that I can give you.
Okay. So, in your opinion, being a leader doesn't necessarily imply that you are a coach, does it?
No, because there's a difference between a coach and a leader, and there you can be a coach but you're not a leader, and you can be a leader but you're not a coach. And
However,
we
you
have
cannot
many
be a coach. Sorry, continue.
Uh, yeah, I just wanted to say we have many examples of coaching leaders. You know, people who lead, they go with their flock, with their followers up the mountain, and they're also at the same time, with their own experience, they're able to guide you to craft your own path. For example, we have Gandhi, who was a coaching leader. We have Steve Jobs. We have Mark Zuckerberg, who the two most modern people who could be considered coaching leaders.
Mm. Okay, all right, that is great. Now, I'll put a pin on that because I have a question about that. But because of your time and because of our time, I'll go straight away to the next question. So, as you may know, this is the OLDN TV, Organization Leadership and Development Network TV. The OLDN TV has been privileged to host several great OD leadership and coaches, and in these sessions few made mention that there is no such thing as a bad leader, and there is no such thing as a bad leadership style. Do you agree to this or do you disagree? Why?
Awesome question.
Mm,
Okay, so I'm going to take the quote of a very good friend with who we had this discussion with. So he gave the example of electricity,
mhm.
and he said, electricity in itself cannot be bad, but it is when you put electricity to the wrong use that it becomes dangerous. So there is no such thing as bad electricity. And in the same way, there is no bad leader. Okay, it is the context in which you put this leader. So um, let's say you have a group of people who are kind of carefree, you know, they want to do their own thing in their own pace at their own time. They'll get the job done, but they don't necessarily want to be like controlled. If you put an autocratic leader over these people, they would consider this person to be a bad leader. They would consider this person to be bad, to be horrible, to be against them, and all of that. But if, for instance, you had people who need a strong, tough hand, people who are a little bit more dependent on their superiors, then they would find an autocratic leader someone who they find joy in, someone that they find pleasant. So I feel like whether or not a person is a bad leader or whether or not bad leadership exists depends on the context in which we're looking at it. It depends on where we've put this leader, who the followers of this leader are, and yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So I'll ask you this. So in your opinion, you're saying there is no such thing as bad leadership or bad leadership style.
There is no bad leadership, but there is poor leadership. It's possible for somebody to be a poor leader. They don't necessarily have all the skills and attributes that a leader is supposed to have, or even if they do, they've not been able to develop and fine tune it in order to kind of take their followers through the route that is supposed to lead to their success. So yes, we can have poor leaders, but we can have bad leaders.
So, for example, what can you quote or what incident can you quote to attribute to a poor leader?
Um, okay. So I'll take because I'm African, I'll take the situation of Africa. A lot of countries in Africa, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of countries in Africa today are struggling with poor leadership. It's not that the leaders are bad, it's not that the leaders don't know what they're doing, it's just that they don't have the skills that are needed to take Africa to the place that it's supposed to be. And this could be maybe because of their own self conceit, selfishness, greed, all of that. But the truth of the matter is they don't really have the relevant skills that are needed to push our nation or our continent rather to the next level. And so in that's the best description that I can give you of poor leadership.
Amazing. So, but then there is no bad leader.
No, I wouldn't say that.
Recent times there has been several arguments in debate on whether or not there is a bad leader, whether or not there is a bad leadership style, and it has lived on from generation to generation. And in this dispensation, a lot of people are saying there is no bad leader, then some people are saying, some scholars are saying there is a bad leader. Now I'll take, for example, I'm sure you know Boko Haram, ISIS.
Yes.
What do you
Yes.
call people who are head of these departments then? People who fund and head this kind of sects, what do you call them?
Right. So I would not call them bad leaders because, to be quite honest, the fact that they're being, for example, when they're leading these terrorist attacks, most of them come through. You know what I mean? They actually happen. So it is the leader that is in place that actually makes that happen. He's the one who has guided his followers through this path to the point that they want to get to. So you can't really call that bad leadership. That's good leadership. But their cause is what is evil.
Mm,
It's their personalities, their ideologies, their beliefs, their practices that are evil, and
mm,
not necessarily their leadership style. So if they had put that same leadership style, for instance, to advocate for electricity in a town, that would be good. That would be considered something that's good and noble. It's the
mm.
same leadership style, but it's a different cause. So we need to look at that.
Amazing, amazing. You can very prepared though. So that is it. I'm very, very, very thrilled, and it will interest you to know that a very great scholar from Russia made a wonderful post today by name Dr. Oleg, and he said that leaders don't make followers; they make leaders. And I'll ask you this: in your opinion, is it wrong for a leader to make followers for himself?
Every leader has a follower,
Mm,
but it is what that follower becomes that is basically how we can basically define the success of this leader. So for instance, in a church, I'll give you, in a church, for instance, there's a lead pastor, and he's leading people. He has followers. He has people that are going to his ministry on a weekly basis, correct? So these are his followers. But it's what happens to these followers that we can that will allow us to judge his leadership style. So for example, if there is a pastor who's leading a group of people and they're supposed to be headed in the right way, in a good moral way, but all of his followers are corrupt, are engaging in fraud, are, basically, I don't know how to put it, but they're not really exhibiting the characteristics of their leader, then some way, somehow, the leader could have maybe miscommunicated his values, miscommunicated his points. And so, yeah, yeah. So every leader has a follower, but not all leaders will create leaders. Not all leaders will duplicate themselves in their followers.
amazing. All right, that's great. So, like a girl community or like a girl forum, do they have an upcoming campaign? Are they running current campaigns? Are there books for like a girl and stuff like that?
Okay, so I would urge all the viewers to head over to Instagram if you can. At the end of each of our posts, we give a number of useful links that could help to forward the cause. So, for instance, recently we spoke about the Johnny Depp case, where he was actually raped and abused by his partner, and how everyone just disregarded his point of view and focused on the woman. So again, it's basically discussing the male side of feminism. So at the end of that post, we have a number of links and like petitions, websites that could be looked at, articles that could be read, that will kind of help develop our knowledge and also help to just change this narrative. So I would encourage each and every one of you to scroll to the end of the post and take note of the links that are there.
Okay, great. And at the end of this video as well, we'll be sharing the link. So whenever anyone is watching, they can get the link as well. And you can just click on it and boom, you'll find Like a Girl Dubai. And one more question, please. This is coming from, who is this? Oh, I can't see the name. So are you saying that a woman should have the same rights as a man in every community? Ooh.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Uh,
Because should I elaborate?
oh,
Would you like me? All right. So basically, what are rights? What are the basic rights? It is to vote, to earn, to live, things like that. And it's not because you're a man or a woman, it's because you're a human being. It's not even at this stage, it's not even about whether you're a man, it's not about whether you're female. It really is about the fact that you're a human being, you're a living creature. You have the right to earn for yourself, you have the right to work for yourself, you have the right to vote for whoever you want to vote for, whenever, wherever, things like that. And I think that there's a misconception in people thinking that women only deserve rights in a first world country, and in a third world country they need to be like subjected under the hand of patriarchy, which is not true. Because I feel like the reason why many first world countries are in the position that they're in today is because they've included the females in their workforce. Now, I'm not saying that men alone can't do anything, but the fact that there's an increase in the population itself is what is increasing our productivity and hence allowing us to expand our GDP as countries. But now, if a country where a woman is not allowed to hold a certain position, she's not allowed to be a manager, she's not allowed to be a CEO or in any senior leadership, then obviously, and she's just doing like menial jobs, she's not contributing to the society as much as she could. So, yes, all women in every community across the globe deserve to have rights.
Okay. Thank you very much, Miss Karen Kiarie. Thank you very much. And thank you to all of viewers for watching us today. We've come to today's edition. We've come to the end of today's edition. And once again, I'm your host, Blessing Dilla from the OLDN TV Studios. And to be a part of this body, you just have to visit www.centralo.com. The link is going to be attached in this video. And the link for Like a Girl Dubai will be attached to this video. And once again, if you're watching us on Facebook, why not follow us on Facebook, and please share the video as well. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification button. When we upload a video, guess who was the first to watch this video? Only you. And this is OLDN TV, where we ignite insightful conversations. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned in for the next edition. Thank you, Ms. Karen, for joining today's edition, and we hope to see you again soon. Bye.